Welcome to the Two Blokes Chatting radio show on 94.7 The Pulse. Music, interviews, news, and, well, Two Blokes Chatting. Now, here are the two blokes.
That is Bradley McCaw with a song called So Glad, and I just realised we played that last week, so he's getting a fair old run on the radio station.
Looking after him.
But that's okay. If we can only get hold of him on the telephone, that'd be really, really good. Good morning to you, Bradley McCaw.
Hello, guys. Thanks for having me on.
That's a very great pleasure. Last week, the way we do our song selections here is we sort of tied in with the guests because it'd be embarrassing if we, didn't. But we also have a theme running through the show, and last week, So Glad fitted into the theme, and here we are. We've just played it again because it fits into this morning's theme.
Well, it's good because every time I step up to do interviews, people are sort of playing Robbie Williams before me. I don't know why that is. Not that it matters, but it's great.
Yes. Hey, just on that theme, Brad, we have been lucky enough to have lots of guests who you're probably heading to the status of. Glenn Shorrock, Brian Cadd, Joe Camilleri, to name a few, and I do exactly the same thing as I did with you this morning. Hold the line, please, Brad. You'll be able to hear yourself singing. To them, it's probably a bit mundane. They're all in their 70s. But seriously, what is it like for a young fella like you to hear work of that quality coming down in your own ears?
That's a really, really good question. And first of all, what a privilege to be even mentioned in the same breath as those guys. I grew up idolising Glenn Shorrock, particularly in the Little River Band, and so that's that's huge for me. I'm just going to sort of shed a quick tear of proudness right now. But
as you should.
It's funny, I think, hearing your own music back when you're waiting on hold to talk about yourself. I think it's, then I did have a moment of kind of like, yeah, that holds up. That feels really good. That feels great. Or kind of, that vocal, we really got a good vocal on that. Or, geez, that sax is nice. So it is kind of, it's nice to return to it because as soon as we get off the phone, we're back to work or writing new stuff and just always trying to sort of move forward. So it is kind of a nice moment of reflection and have a bit of pride about it.
Well, all those mini-series, there was a series about Cilla Black, and there's, of course, things like La Bamba with Richie Valens, and there's always that scene, isn't there, where they get told they're number one for the first time, and they get all very excited and jump around and do silly things. And whilst we haven't quite got you there in terms of, national number one yet, it's only a matter of time, I would have thought, just hearing it on the radio, that must be just a buzz the first time you hear it.
Yeah, it really is. It is kind of... I think it is putting you with your idols and the experiences you had when you found music and the reason that you do it, I feel. So it is, you become part of a club. Like, I think you get issued a bumper sticker for your car, you get a T-shirt, and I think you get a pin that they send you, which is, you've been played on radio, and we all wear it around, and you sort of give each other a wink on the street, hey Glenn, hey Brian, good to see you guys.
and they respond with, g'day mate.
Yeah, they go, hey mate, keep it coming, good stuff. Keep it coming, you'll be there soon, mate.
Well, I guess it's a bit the same. We've got a couple of very well-known radio announcers down here that we have had the good fortune to interview, and it's funny, you're talking to Brian Cadd or you're talking to Glenn Shorrock on the phone and you get a bit edgy, but I find it even harder to talk to professional radio DJs. You just got that sense of, are they going to be? Are they doing feedback? Are they actually doing a critique on you the whole time? I guess it's the same for you.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Because it's the people, our peers, are the ones that know behind the smoke and mirrors. They kind of know what it goes into doing this thing, and or they have insider information. I know. For me, the first one was obviously, playing with Louis, but Nathan East, who played bass on this song we're talking about, and So Glad, and all the songs from this new record. It's on tour with Eric Clapton now and played on some of my favourite records. I remember the first time I sent him tracks, I remember I was just packing it. I'm thinking, what is happening? How is this real life? And he called me up, and he's just one of the nicest and most biggest music fans that you'll ever meet. And he just said, we had this talk about how much he loved the songs, and it was still raw. The project was just starting, and that was a very special moment. So yeah, it is kind of nerve-wracking. I agree.
Hey, Brad, that's an interesting segue to the next question, because one of the things that Neil and I have noted with these aforementioned artists that we've interviewed is how ridiculously humble they are. Russell Morris in particular summed it up by just saying, mate, I'm lucky, I've got a gift, I can sing, I can play the guitar, but when a carpenter or cabinet maker comes into my house, I sit there in awe of how clever they are. So he's got really good control of it. Are you really confident and comfortable that you're going to always remember where you've come from?
Look, I hope so. I mean, I think it comes down to your mum. I really think it comes down to how your mum talks to you at Christmas. And I think no matter what happens, Mum looks at you and she goes, "You're not eating enough. You didn't take the trash out last week. I can tell. It's sort of bring you back down to life." I mean, I'm making light. I think so, because I think if you're true, I think it's Santana that said, it has to be about more than the music. It has to be. Yeah, there has to be a purpose more than kind of just the selling and the talking about yourself and things like that. It has to be about something in the music, and I think if you hold true to that, no matter what, you can't lose your way too far, because you can't make music without sticking with that feeling, and that comes from being humble. I mean, I think that's what it is, like with guys like Nathan and Louis and the guys that played on, that gifted me with playing on my songs, is that you need every piece of the puzzle to make a great song. You need someone to write it, you need someone to sing on it, you need great engineers to record it, you need a great studio, and it's a team, and they've made so much stuff that it is, the good stuff kind of feels special even to them, because there's a lot of music out there, and sometimes it just has something that just feels good. You're
talking a lot about writing music, creating new stuff, but what's it like for doing live performances now? Is there plenty of work now coming your way, and are you really busy in that space as well?
Yeah, it's moving forward. It'd be great for there to be more. I think we're sort of looking at where we can build opportunities overseas and sort of start to spread the music over there, because it is kind of a nod to American kind of music and blue-eyed soul and that sort of stuff. So we're working towards the UK and to the US at the moment, and so not doing as much performing as we probably could be, but definitely excited to share the songs with an audience, and we're getting messages from people every day all over the place saying, "When are you coming to Japan? When are you coming to Sussex? When are you coming to
Geelong,
Ipswich, Geelong? Yeah, hey, next week. When can we get me there? Let's get the promoters on the phone."
I've got a good venue for you. Rob's been singing the praises of the local Palais.
Or you'd hum at the Palais, mate. Goanna Band played there last Friday, and it was just brilliant, wonderful sound in the little old revamped. It was a Geelong icon, the Palais, probably well over 100 years old, and been revamped a lot, so it'd be a perfect venue for you.
I can't wait. It's something about those venues that were really made for this stuff, wasn't it? You
Yeah.
step in there and it just feels right, just feels magical.
And Rob feels good about it because he's also a Geelong icon that's over 100 years old. So, and he hasn't been revamped as far as we can tell. Just looking at him.
No.
So,
I'm original.
as we've still got a few minutes, 5 or 10 minutes we can chat to you. But the song that we're going to play at the back end of this conversation is a song called "Someone Like You," and it's just a beautiful bringing together of two members of the Two Blokes Chatting family, because we interviewed Pauline here about 5 weeks ago. So I'm fascinated by the process that says, okay, I've written this song, I'm assuming you've written this one, and you've sat down and you've said, okay, I now need to bring some musos in. This is going to sound a lot better if I've got a female. How do you get a Pauline to say, yeah, I'll be part of that? What's the process?
It's a funny old one with a duet, especially I think in 2022, and especially coming out of COVID, where it wasn't like, back in the day, you hear stories of Billy Joel's in one room and they go, you know what, I think we need a singer on this one. We just see who's in control room B, studio B, and they go over and there's Carly Simon and she comes in. That's kind of what it was like back in the day when studios were kind of bustling metropolises of
Metropoli
on the charts. But today, it's kind of like, no one's around anyone during when we were making this song. So to go back and to answer your question, I started writing the song, and Louis Shelton, who produced it and played guitar on it, we were working on the song and working on vocals from me, and we were sort of just doing tinkering and just trying to find, there's a time when a song just sort of slots together and you can feel it and you go, okay, that's a record, that's a song. Until that point, you're sort of just tinkering like a guy in a tool shop, just trying to sort of, find a way to make the clock work or something. And at some point, I sort of went, I don't think this story makes sense without someone else answering. It's someone searching for someone, and it's missing the other side of the story. The story doesn't change. And as soon as we knew that it needed to be a duet, it just all kind of made sense. So we reached out to Paulini because we wanted the song to have some of my favorite duets, or all the ones that have two different voices on it, two very different sounds that come together. And it's like when they sing together, it's like, how did I never picture these two together? Because you think of Sonny and Cher and Kenny Rogers and Dolly Parton. You've got two different voices, like a small kind of lyrical voice, and then Kenny with Dolly, and then Kenny's got this sort of thick kind of a voice that feels like a cloud almost. It's two different sounds, and when you put them together, you go, wow, that's how have we never heard this together before? It feels so right. So we were looking for that, and when we got together in the studio, we hadn't met. We just met the night we recorded it. We rehearsed it. We recorded in one sort of one session, and we made the film clip during that session that we'd met, recorded, and whatever. And we left with what felt just so magical. It just felt like it was meant to be. It was one of my favorite times in the studio.
Well, we're about to find out when we play it, but hundreds and hundreds of potential female artists. Why Paulini? Was there a connection within the group already, or did you just think her voice was the magic that you were hearing?
We did. There was a connection between us, which made the sort of pitching the song to her easier. But there was. She's got an incredible voice, and she's got a different voice to me. And, we wanted, it just made sense. When someone mentioned it, we just went, yeah, that's it. And we were lucky that she really loved the song, and, and you can sing with people and it cannot work. It could have been a complete mess, but you never know with these things. It's just, there's always some sort of unknown, and that's what makes music incredible, and that's what makes art incredible, is because you never really know, And
here we were thinking you'd heard Paulini on the Two Blokes Chatting radio show 5 or 6 weeks ago and got, that's the voice.
Well, you know what? Ask me again and we'll cut this out.
Yeah, sadly live to air, but I was kind of hoping that was where it was going. And one other thing, and I guess it's fairly obvious in this situation because, it was your song that you brought Paulini on. And how do people decide whether it's Kenny Rogers and Dolly Parton or Dolly Parton and Kenny Rogers? What's the protocols there?
Do you mean in terms of
how it's actually promoted? Who?
Well, I think it's always someone's song. I think it's always it's in terms of someone is kind of the driving force behind this thing. So there's stories of Michael Jackson calling up Paul McCartney, and the joke goes that Michael said, hey Paul, do you want to come and make a hit? Because that's what I make. And Paul McCartney sort of paused apparently on the phone and said, well, I don't know if I really need a hand making a hit, because I have a few, but I'd love to make one with you, Michael. And they got together, and then that's when they made
Ebony and Ivory?
That's on his Pipe as a Peace album. What was that one?
Was it Ebony and Ivory?
Say.
Yes, it was Stevie Wonder, wasn't it? The other one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's what I wanted on the record, and that's what we wanted to make once with this song particularly, is there's so many great duets through time that we wanted to kind of bring that back. We wanted to bring back the old school duet. There hadn't been one, I felt, for a while that really put two voices that really just wanted to sing the crack out of a track. And we really sung it.
And I think this is, and we're not trying to pump up your tyres more than we need to contractually, you understand. But
no, it is there, but I appreciate it.
But in terms of, the last song where we spoke to you when you promoted So Glad, and I guess one of the things that appealed to about it, initially the story was the film clip with everyone around places doing stuff in isolation and so on. But you said at the time that you were trying to bring back that old-fashioned sound a bit, and I sense the same with this. I don't know that Rob's actually heard the song yet. No, we try and keep him in the dark as much as we can and just roll him out on show day. But you look at that and you go, that's a song that could have comfortably been recorded 35 years ago, and yet it still sounds really fresh. I think there's just
that's an amazing thing. That's an amazing compliment, and that's exactly what we're trying to do. Where I feel like personally, and I'm not preaching, but like I just think there is a space for that to be in this world. I think a lot of people want to hear music like that, and I don't know necessarily that there is a place for it automatically in the industry right now, with the way that radio's set up and the way that, everywhere, and the way that sort of social media is set up, and the way the kind of the record industry is set up in terms of what is popular and what kind of makes the most money right now. But there are a lot of people that are writing to the team, and that either love Louis' work or love Nathan East's work or are finding mine, and sort of going, wow, it's great that someone's making this now, because we kind of, I've heard stories, and you guys could probably speak to this too. Every year you would remember, I just got into Billy Joel at the tail end of his career. I mean, I found Into River of Dreams, and I remember people were telling me stories, every year you'd know someone would bring out a record. Elton John, David Bowie, Bob Dylan, these guys would bring out a record every year, and you had that to look forward to. And you could listen to the record and flip it over and go side to side, and it was an album, it was an experience, and it was art. And, it sounds like I'm sort of like getting on a pulpit, but I just love it. This is what I've done for my career, is write these songs and work with people that make art and music, and I'm just proud to maybe share that with people now that love that or are looking for that.
I put it to you,
it means a lot you put it like that. Thank you.
I put it to you, there's no space in the market for it. There is a yawning gulf.
Yeah.
And in my mind, this hip-hop and rap being a word that's missing the C from the front of it, it's time we got some music. And I know that makes me sound like someone's granddad, because I am someone's granddad. But I think it's just really, really important that we don't lose that. And I just salute you. And when Amalia rang up and said, hey, do you want to have a chat to Bradley, the answer was an emphatic yes for that reason.
Well, thank you so much for your support, guys. And I mean that really, really, really genuinely, because it means a lot that people will be able to find it, and we can, like you're saying, a lot of people agree with us. I mean, that there is something missing, where they just want a song they can dance to in their kitchen, or they want a song that just, there's a bunch of people playing and feels like a good love song, So if that's we've obviously done a good job, a good day in the studio, and we're happy to oblige,
Hey, Bradley, all the songwriters we've spoken to tell a similar theme about a song's making, and that it just continues to develop. And you've confirmed that with adding a female vocal to your song. But when you, with the success of this, and hopefully the financial success of it, is it now something that you could put into your songwriting to say, I really want to sing a song with Bert, and I'm going to write a song that suits our singing? Is it possible to do that, or are these really just always going to evolve naturally from a little seed?
You guys ask such great questions. It's always so much fun talking with you guys.
Rob's angling for a duo, by the way.
Well,
I do baritone, if that helps.
Yeah, it does, actually. It really does. Say no more. Let's get off and work on the new song. I think it's both. I think sometimes, you would meet someone and you would... It's tricky for me, because all my idols are kind of these artists that I'm now sort of starting to come across and work with, and of course I want to work with them or write songs for them. We were working on something recently, a new song for Down the Track, and the keyboard player that was playing on it, Greg Fillinganes, who's just a legend. I said to him, this would be great as a duet with Smokey Robinson. I'm a huge Smokey Robinson fan, the Miracles. I mean, everyone is. And he goes, oh, well, it's got his number on my phone. Should we call him and see? And I'm like, no. We're not going to do that. Let's just finish the song. So, let's just take a breath before we send it to one of the greatest songwriters of all time. Let's just everybody calm down. I guess you never know, really.
Well, calming down's not an option when you're around, Bradley. We were very, very pleased to have you as part of the Two Blokes Chatting radio show, and anytime you just pick up the phone, you got our number, and we would be happy to chat to you.
Thank you. I'm looking for, once we put the record out, we should do a long play and listen to every track and take a deep dive, and we can really sort of get into it.
Yeah, and you get your manager to get you to G-Town.
Yeah, mate, let's do it. I'll see you there. You'll be front and centre and up on stage singing the Paulini part.
That sounds like a plan. The song is called Someone Like You. I got my copy by buying it through the iTunes store. I'm assuming you can buy that through other streaming services, because we don't like people streaming music, because you get like about 9/5 of nothing. We're saying just go and buy the song. If you want to stream it after that, that's fine. But buy the song. It cost me a massive $2.19, and just do it. It's available in all places, I guess.
Yeah, and I think you were part of the reason we got to the top 10 on the song, on the country charts and the iTunes country chart. So thank you very much for supporting it. And it is, go and buy it on iTunes and join my mailing list of Bradley McCaw Official if you like old school stuff and you want to know when we're going to have new music out. But that's definitely the best way to support it, is to send us your $2.
Sounds.
Put it in an envelope and send it care P.O. Box.
I'll give you my address if they're going to do that. Bradley, it's great to catch up again. We are going to play your song. It is Bradley McCaw and Paulini. It's a song called Someone Like You. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, guys. Always a pleasure.
Good on you, mate. All
Cheers,
the best.
mate.
Can't see, holding by the river and the sea, been waiting for someone like you. I've been wandering through the shadows of the night, walking around in first morning light. I've been